都要替換。Monsanto 就係美國曼山都就係基因種子嘅一個公司啊嘛。你知唔知道而家佢哋出嘅種子你係要替換嘅？以前嘅農夫我哋曾經分享過啦。以前嘅農夫咧，佢哋自己種咗呢啲嘅植物，然後點樣啊？佢哋會留起最靚嗰啲種子，然後等下一做種一批，然後食一批埋一批噶嘛。但係問題喺而家嚟講咧就唔得啦，因為點解？因為佢哋出嘅所有呢啲嘅種子都係乜嘢啊？所有呢啲種子係唔能夠佢種咗呢一代之後咧，所出嘅麥子係唔可以種到下一代。OK， 你諗下，連我哋用嘅嘢，包括食嘅嘢，都係要咁樣，因為你奇怪，你奇怪點解呢啲法例可以通得過，可以等佢做呢樣嘢？而家你知唔知曼山都，如果你種個農場咧，唔用佢嘅種子嘅話咧，佢有辦法使到你家破人亡，佢使到你一生去孭住法律上嘅 case 甩唔到身。因為點解啊？因為只要你嘅種子吹去人哋嘅農場係用曼山都嘅種子，或者曼山都嘅種子吹咗落你嗰度嘅時候咧，佢就可以告你噶啦。你污染佢嘅種子，明唔明啊？咁惡㗎喎，而所以你會睇到佢用翻呢個方法咧，一樣喺印度好多地方去製造奴隸，佢先送啲種子俾佢 ，OK， 送幾年，導致到佢哋杜絕晒佢哋所有自己能夠咧種咗出嚟，自己可以生下一代嘅種子。送完之後佢就冇得講啦。10年之後唔該你同我買，以後每一造嘅種子都同佢買，而並且越賣越貴。
GMO 基因改造生物，自從人類發現 DNA 之後，就開始將不同動物嘅基因混合喺一齊進行實驗，將物種變得更強。基因改造食物就係呢一個概念。例如將北極魚體內嘅耐寒基因放進番茄當中，演變出耐寒基因改造番茄；將蠍子基因放進馬鈴薯裏面，演變出耐寒馬鈴薯。此外，亦都有將人類基因放進牛肉，讓牛產出同人奶相近嘅牛奶。有人戲稱基因改造食物係科學怪人食物。而美國其中一間最大出產基因改造種子嘅公司就係 Monsanto Company。Monsanto 喺1901年由 John Francis Queeny 創辦，當時係一所化學產品公司。當時生產人造糖精供可口可樂使用，因此好快就成為咗一家大企業。到二次大戰時期，已經係美國最大嘅塑膠製造商，並且參與政府嘅原子彈及核彈研究計劃。後來開始研發農業用產品、殺蟲劑，其中包括喺1970年代因為嚴重影響環境、致癌及損害生殖系統而被禁用嘅殺蟲劑 DDT， 以及喺越戰嘅時候為咗對付森林內嘅游擊隊而大量使用稱為橙劑嘅枯葉劑。其後卻令無數越南人因而患癌，以及因為基因變異而誕生出殘缺嘅後代，直到現在。當時佢哋已經展開基因改造嘅計劃，及後更加生產不同種類嘅基因改造種子，美其名係讓植物不受蟲害，喺惡劣環境底下亦都能夠提高產量。但係多年之後，副作用卻係漸漸湧現。Monsanto 每次都能夠喺政策上得到益處，甚至通過具爭議性嘅產品，例如通過將化學產品阿斯巴甜作為食用嘅代糖。原因除咗花費巨額金錢作遊說政府嘅開銷，好多政府高層，包括食品及藥物管理局 FDA 及環境保護局 EPA， 都係 Monsanto 嘅前任職員。例如高等法院法官 Clarence Thomas、食品及藥物管理局副處長 Michael R. Taylor、環境保護局副處長 Linda Fisher。喺前任僱員嘅幫助底下，往往通過對 Monsanto 有利嘅法規。Monsanto 嘅基因改造種子係唔係對人類安全已經不得而知，但係美國政府不但已經視基因改造食物為安全，更加認為同冇基因改造嘅正常食品冇分別，因此喺法例上唔需要加上標籤。於是美國人連知情權及選擇權都失去咗，成為咗實驗品。
Products, why don't we have that labeling?
Well, unlike other countries, we have deemed GMO foods to be substantially equivalent. Bush Sr. passed this through in 1992 with the FDA. And what it says is that GMO foods are substantially equivalent to non-GMO foods, so they're pretty much equal. And that's completely different than any other country, really,
How does that even make sense?
world.
One's GMO, the other's not.
Right. Well, they're both, apparently, according to the FDA, there's no proof. And like unlike other countries, the U.S. does not require their own independent tests to verify whether these foods are safe or not. What they do is have these firms and agricultural giants conduct their own research and tests. And when the FDA passed this as substantially equivalent, there was internal documents released later from FDA scientists that said, hey, this isn't true and we completely disagree with this. But it's kind of been swept under the rug. Like I said, there's a revolving door between this corporation and the government, all the way back to the acquisition of Cyril and also Michael Taylor, who was working for Monsanto as the vice president, is now the food safety czar in Obama's cabinet.
另一方面，控制種子就可以控制整個農業嘅生計。傳統上，農夫會將收成最好嘅一部分儲起嚟，成為下一季嘅種子。但係由於 Monsanto 為基因改造種子註冊咗專利，因此喺合約上並唔容許農夫儲存種子。雖然農夫反對呢一種做法，但係由於 Monsanto 基因改造種子確實能夠抵抗蟲害及增加收成，農夫亦都紛紛轉用。
10,000 years ago, farmers started saving their best seeds and planting again in the following year. That's how seeds have been developed. That's how corn was developed from a useless grass for the most part to the extremely productive plant it is today.
The idea that any corporation could own a food crop, is a very new idea. And it wasn't until the 1980s that the Supreme Court said you could patent life. And that opened the floodgates, efforts to patent the most valuable parts of life, which is to say, the crops on which we depend.
Monsanto's a chemical company. They produced DDT, Agent Orange in Vietnam, and then they developed a product called Roundup. We started hearing rumblings about genetically engineered soybeans that could resist the application of Roundup. And when the Roundup was sprayed over the top of it, it killed every weed out there except for this Roundup Ready soybean. I can remember when the first prohibitions against seed saving came into being, and most farmers were just absolutely disgusted with the whole concept. And it's been interesting over the course of 11 years to watch us go from utter contempt for the notion that we can't save our own seed to acceptance.
What happens if a farmer saves the seeds?
Well, really, there's only one company involved in this now, and that's Monsanto. Monsanto is they've got a team of private investigators that kind of roam the country, and they've got a little 1-800 hotline they take calls on, and if they get a call and somebody alleges that somebody saved seed, they'll send an investigator out to look into the matter. And you save your own seed, you're going to get a call from somebody from Monsanto.
此外，如果一塊田種咗 Monsanto 嘅種子，假若種子吹到其他農民嘅田，就可以控告其他農民侵犯咗 Monsanto 種子嘅專利。當越嚟越多農民轉用 Monsanto 嘅種子之後，再冇天然嘅農作物，亦都冇天然嘅種子啦。
A really ingenious device designed back in the 1800s, and Monsanto's going to close all of them out. So how many seed cleaners are out there in the country, you think?
In the state of Indiana, there may be 6. Maybe. I'm not aware
How many
of.
there used to be?
Oh my golly, every county had 3. They've all been put out of business. There's nobody left.
When Monsanto soybeans first came on the market, I just really never switched over. I was getting pretty good yields with the conventional soybeans I've been using, so I thought, well, I'll just stay where I'm at. My neighbors all around me are all GMOs. The pollen blows in, if the seed moves in, I am still held accountable.
When you genetically modify a crop, you own it. We've never had this in agriculture.
Monsanto 發覺法律上禁制農夫保留種子並唔足夠，為咗賺取更多嘅利潤，Monsanto 同樣採取有惡意淘汰嘅方式去淘汰植物嘅種子。2007年，Monsanto 收購咗 Delta and Pineland Company， 掌握咗另一項被別人稱為 Terminator 毀滅者嘅種子專利技術。所種出嚟嘅植物唔會開花，唔會傳播花粉，只係會結出果子。咁樣導致農民需要每一次收割後，亦都要購買另一批 Monsanto 嘅種子。Monsanto 能夠橫行美國，壟斷美國嘅農業，並且讓美國人成為基因改造食物嘅實驗品。但係到咗國外，冇政府高層嘅幫助，佢哋嘅計劃就冇咁容易實現啦。例如歐盟因住消費者有知情權嘅立場，要求基因食物要喺標籤列明基因改造食物。並且印度政府本來歡迎Monsanto種子賣給印度農民，藉此提高收成，改善農民生計。但係後來卻因為基因改造種子雖然唔係毀滅者，但係下一代嘅收成卻係被預設產量降低，迫使農民不斷需要購入Monsanto嘅種子，大量農民借債度日。現時喺印度每30分鐘就有一個農民自殺。
Monsanto, according to Vandana Shiva. She's a nuclear scientist who became an anti-globalization activist 20 years ago.
Every seed that is in the market in cotton today is linked to one company or the other, licensed and controlled by Monsanto.
She says peasant farmers used to use natural fertilizers and pesticides, and they grew and saved their own seeds to plant the next year's crop. In the 70s, coaxed by the government and international aid donors, farmers began to use hybrid seeds bought in the store. These offered the promise of better yields and disease resistance, but they can require careful management, including chemical fertilizer and pesticides. More recently, genetically modified BT cotton seeds were introduced by St. Louis-based Monsanto, licensed and sold under the names of well-known Indian seed companies. BT seeds are patented, so farmers aren't allowed to grow and replant them. They must be bought every year from the seed companies, which market them with film stars and even Hindu deities, says Vandana Shiva.
They keep saying this is red disease, red disease. I really don't know why this is happening.
Andre is learning that his new crop is not as disease-resistant as the ad said. His is the classic saga in which many illiterate farmers eventually lose their land, says Vandana Shiva.
That innocent farmer is grabbed by the agent who says, here's a miracle seed, it's going to double your income, you're going to be a millionaire, put your thumbprint out here. The farmer has no idea what he's signing on to. The farmer has no idea that 2 weeks down the line he'll have to come back for pesticide. That when the leaves will start shriveling up, the agent will say, no, you also needed irrigation. We didn't tell that to you in the beginning, so take a tube well loan, and here's another loan.
喺巴西，更加有500萬名農民集體控告Monsanto，而波蘭亦都有反Monsanto嘅示威，抗議基因改造種子植物，導致成千上萬嘅蜜蜂死亡。
The latest buzz about Monsanto is that their genetically engineered crops and herbicides could be a factor in the decimation of the honeybee colonies. In Poland, 1,500 beekeepers recently demonstrated against Monsanto's MON 810 corn, depositing thousands of dead bees at the Ministry of Agriculture.
Monsanto 一所美國農業公司，為住金錢利益，不惜壓抑植物嘅生長，令到農作物嘅下一代漸漸衰敗，甚至自我毀滅。而呢啲不同類型嘅變異基因，亦都會透過每一口嘅食物進到人類嘅肚腹裏面。呢一種為盈利而犧牲人類健康，亦在所不辭嘅企業，其實係唔係就係聖經記載 嗰個喝醉聖徒之血嘅淫婦大巴比倫呢？